Hotep, and welcome to Matters of Diversity with Dr. B. I am excited to have you all be a part of today's podcast because I have two phenomenal seniors from the UCF community to communicate with today. Not only are these some up-and-coming students who are going to do some great things for the world, but they are activists. They are leaders in their own right. They're doing great things for the NAACP student organization here on campus. First, let me bring in Vanessa Lundy. She's a senior majoring in political science with a focus in diversity and inequity. She is of Haitian descent and is originally from Key West, Florida. As a political action chair of UCF's NAACP, her job is to purpose and advocate for the marginalized and provide a voice for the voiceless. Next, we have the president of NAACP, that is Nadia Beaubrun, and I just messed that up. I think it's Beaubrun, a senior of the University of Central Florida's majoring in health sciences and minoring in health services administration. Her degree plan is to go to medical school and become a pediatrician. She is currently the president, as I said, of the oldest and the boldest organization at UCF, the National Association for the National Advancement of Colored People, where work is hard to establish equality on the UCF campus for all minorities. And so with that being said, here are my two guests. How are y'all doing today?
Hello, hello. Thank you for having us, Professor Butler. It's so good to be here.
I'm glad to have you. I've gotten to know Nadia a little bit over the year, and it's been difficult with the COVID situation that we're in. But Vanessa, it's really good to have a possible strong conversation today about where you are in the world and how you see the world. And so I kind of got a sense of where Nadia is coming from, but now I get to infuse the two together. And so there's been a lot that's been happening over the past couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh my goodness.
Not just the weeks, the whole year.
Where's your headspace right now when it comes to all the stuff that's been going on?
Right. What is it?
It's, for me, I would say it's definitely like a movie because I'm not out and about. Like, I feel like if we were on the front line, knowing that it's like, because it's COVID and we're inside, the only thing I'm seeing is from my TV screen. So I'm just like, wow, like that's the world out there. But like, it's not like I can't connect with it because I'm not outside. I don't know like what's really going on. I work from home. I go to school from home. I do everything at home. So it's just like, wow, it's like, is this a movie going on? Like, is this for real? And it's just like, wow. But like, I feel like if COVID wasn't here and we were out and about, I think it will be totally different. I feel like it will be more like it's real, but now it doesn't seem as real, but it's real.
That's valid. How about you, Vanessa?
Just like for me, I know during the summer, especially with the marches going down in Orlando, downtown Orlando, like I was out there, me and my friends were out there, we were protesting and things of that sort. So it was different. Like, I think I actually got the chance to like experience firsthand, like how real it is for a lot of people. And especially like, personally, like my brother has been through the criminal justice system. So it's like dealing with things of that sort and already having like personal experience, like piggyback off of, and just emotion I was already ramped up off of. So it was just kind of surreal, actually, being like boots on the ground and being there in the mix of everybody and really being face to face with the police. At one point, we were face to face with the police, locked arms, and they had the pepper spray cans ready to go and everything. But like, it was just it felt like a different world being out there. It just felt like.
Let me ask you a question based on that. You said you were on the front lines, locked arms. What was going through your body? What were you feeling in that moment?
I was scared that something was going to happen, but I was more mad for my people as a whole. I was mad about just inequality and biasness and discrimination, just the verdicts, because that was the day Breonna Taylor, like they didn't want to arrest anybody for Breonna Taylor's murder. When George Floyd, it was fresh off of George Floyd and that event, and it was just even more different because you got to see like who who really came out there to make a statement and make a difference and make a change, and other people who were there just to promote their image or just say, or who were just there to be like, oh, I was actually there, I was active, and just kind of make it like more about them, like a publicity stunt, more
Yeah.
than it was to be an activist. Because at one point, like we're all staying there, like linked arms, and like there's all these other people of color, which I also like. I support allyship. I would encourage anybody to do whatever they can to stand in allyship with people who marginalize people. But at the end of the day, like you have to know how to play your role when those things go down. We were down there and like we're locked arms, and like, you know, these people of non-color are like, you know, they're trying to entice the police. They're calling them all kinds of pigs and all kinds of different kind of derogatory terms, cussing them out, and they're in their face. And like, while the people of color are solemnly standing there in solidarity.
So that's really that's phenomenal that you say that. So talk about that a little bit, and maybe Nadia, you can talk about that as well. But you were there, and you were having a conversation about police brutality. You were having you know, things that you were trying to shout out the name Breonna Taylor.
Yes.
And people there who were antagonizing in a different way.
Yes. We were coming more from, we were trying to advocate. We were trying to preach what was going wrong, like our issues, our problems. We were standing there even in silence and solidarity because, you know, some of the police officers, obviously they, you know, they were trying to be violent as well. But we were staying there peacefully, trying to get our point across, to make sure that we were there in solidarity, there as a unit. And then there were the other people, like, you know, the agitators who were just coming up, and they were just like, you pig, like you do this, look at them, they think they could kill us. These are people of non-color. Do you like what you do to us? Us. And I'm like, and it's literally, you know, little girl with blonde hair, blue eyes, skinny as a twig, like jumping over the bushes, trying to get in these cops' faces. Yeah. And literally one of them dropped the N-word.
Yeah.
Like called them the N-word. Yeah. Like, look at these N-words. Like they think they could tell us what to do. Right. And everybody, at one point, me and this other girl of color, like we locked eyes because we were looking at this girl. We didn't want to break what we were trying to do. So we weren't gonna, like, you know, go out and reach out to this girl who was doing this. We were still trying to push our message to the police. Like Breonna Taylor shouldn't have died in her sleep. George Floyd shouldn't have died. Like shouldn't have been murdered. Like we were just trying to push those messages. But we literally locked eyes at one point, me and that girl of color. And we both just started shouting over them, Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
It definitely goes to show you that, like, that's like you kind of got firsthand experience of like what really happens. Like you can be as peaceful as possible and you still get like selected. Like what did I do? Like just because of the color of your skin, like you're not even trying to be violent. You're not trying to, you know, incite anything, and you still get like picked on because of this color of your skin. Like, did she have to say that word? Did she have to do the things that she did? You guys are standing together, showing that how much of a unit you can be, how much, you know, you trying to get your point across without having to be violent, without having to drop names or drop just things that, you know, because there's so many things that, you know, people would like to call police officers or whatever, or, you know, just those. And
if we were to do it, they were liable to get, you know, violent. Police would have retaliated against people of color ASAP. You know what I mean? So it's like, for us, obviously, we're going to go out there peacefully and try to promote our agenda.
You saw a level of constraint.
What is it?
You saw a level of constraint with the police officers, even though there were people who were antagonizing them and things along those lines. So Nadia, what does Black Lives Matter mean to you?
Black Lives Matter, it means so many things, but like if I was to say something like a meaning for it, like it'll be like that, of course, you know, your life matters, your life matters, but they don't understand that Black people are, you know, antagonized the most, are like picked on the most, and that our lives still matter. There was a time NAACP, the Nationals were saying like our lives, we still matter. Like just because, you know, you think things are getting good in America, you think things are like, you know, things are getting better, it's not. Our lives still matter, no matter what you say. You wouldn't know how it feels to be on our side because you don't know. So people be like, well, our lives matter too. Okay, but have you ever been harassed just because you're just walking down the street and you're wearing something that a police officer may think that, you know, was used in a robbery? Just crazy things. They would never understand. I feel like others would never understand that because they were never in our position.
Yeah.
I have my brother who just got out of jail recently, and he said, Nadia, they've been picking on me, and I don't know who do I turn to, where do I go when this whole system is corrupted. Like I feel like I just can't, just can never be right. Nothing that I do just is just right, and it just made me so sad because just like okay, like I want to be there for my brother, I want to help out my people, but it's so hard to when they're just picking on you for nothing. Like you just like you try and do what you do, and then they're
So you
gonna
don't have a voice to speak up for yourself in regards to what may be happening in the situation. So Vanessa, how about you? Same question in some sense. Black Lives Matter. What does it mean to you?
I mean, I think being a part of the National Association for the Advancement of Color People kind of like speaks to Black Lives Matter, the movement in itself. Like we've always like our organization primarily was established to help like see and support the image that Black lives do matter, because historically Black people obviously, as we know, have been disenfranchised and marginalized in this country. We were brought here as property, not even people. And so at this point, like I think Black Lives Matter, we're just trying to continuously, push the narrative as like, hey, like we are still being disenfranchised, we are still being marginalized, there's still racist acts going on, and we are still being unjustifiably killed. So Black Lives Matters to me is just a statement to say that Black people deserve their rights. Black people deserve to live in peace. We matter.
Okay, all right. So in that vein, you said that NAACP, especially our campus organization, is really kind of built on that type of a premise. What are you all doing? I know that we are in this pandemic, and you're like Nadia, you just said that you're home day and night. Um, but what are we doing as a campus to support the voice of the marginalized or the unheard?
I would definitely say right now we're reaching we're reaching out to people, not like we're telling people to come to our events. Let like give them an insight of how we feel. Like we don't only appeal or invite Black people. And I feel like that's a misconception about NAACP is only for the Black people. It's Black people. No, it's for anybody to learn. Our focus is on equality. We just want equality between everyone. We're not saying that we want to be better than um other races or anything like that. We don't care about that. We just stand for equality in every aspect of life, whether that's in the health field, whether that's in your career, no matter what. Where our main focus is on equality. So what we're doing, we're not only targeting, or our audience is only Black people, it's for everyone. So I've seen people reach out to our page, was like, we want to know more, what can we do? Come on, we're a community service-based event, a community service-based organization. Come out, meet us, like fellowship with us, come out and like see how we are, and learn more, because I feel like when you know better, you do better. And
Okay.
I feel like, ignorance is the biggest trait in America that like allows people not to, understand our size. So I just feel like educating people is the best way to go when it comes
So
to.
what's a typical program that you would do, Nadia? What's a program that you would do that you would invite people out to, and what would they expect to see when they get there?
Okay, so something that we do every other Tuesday is general body meetings. So there we find different topics to touch on that may be controversial. Like one thing I tell my e-board members is don't be afraid to talk about something because you feel like it may step on people's toes. You feel like it may rub people the wrong way, or you feel like I don't care about that. Like I understand, but it needs to be talked about. If it's not being talked about, we just keep brushing things under the rug, and it's not being talked about. So journal body meetings, I make sure those meetings are information filled.
Okay.
We also do community service events where we go out into the community and show that we're not we're not your stereotypical, people like to say Black people does this, or we're thugs, we're this. No, we give back to community, we do what we have to do. We're American citizens, and you know we want to show you that. So two things, and we like to do socials where we go out and we just like to have fun, and let people understand, like, this is what equality is about. Like we don't like to um exempt anybody from doing anything. We allow everyone to come in and see what we're about.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So It sounds like it's also a respect of person. So everybody who comes there, you're respecting what they bring into the table. What's it like? What's it like for you, Vanessa, in your role? What do you do specifically, and how do you invite people into leadership in NAACP? Because you guys are seniors, and so, and I shouldn't say guys. So you two young ladies are seniors. So what does that entail?
I think just like Nadia said, we're a big source of representation on campus. Like we go out and we do community service and we fellowship and we're present and we have events where everybody can come together and gather and brainstorm ideas and talk about their issues and things going on in the communities as well. But for me, like this is a newly, I just had I just came into my position the top of last year. We didn't really get to work until the school year for fall. But I know one of the biggest things that I'm most proud of that I got to do through the NAACP was help promote now state attorney, Monique Worrell to her position. A lot of people on the east side, especially specifically students at UCF, weren't aware or privy to Miss Monique running at all. So we held like a live for her and got to do like a live Q&A, and we got to give her questions, and we invited our organization out, other organizations out, and we got to discuss, and they got to see who she was and know about her candidacy and those things. And she won the seat. And Monique's agenda obviously encompasses everything that the NAACP is about when it comes to, criminal justice reform and the equity within the criminal justice system and into our like higher institutions that hold power as well. She was all about transparency, accountability, and equality. So I think that's one of the biggest things that I'm proud of, that I got to say I got to be involved in, because we also worked on her trail and all kinds of things of that sort. But it definitely, working through NAACP, I've been encompassing, like surrounded by a bunch of just like strong-minded, intelligent individuals who are so driven to do what they want to do. Like all my co-members, co-chairs, like everybody in my organization is so passionate about what they do, and everything they say that they're going to do, it gets done. So for me, it's just kind of like working as a body and as a unit to make an impactful difference and promote people, especially when it comes to like, our legislators and our politicians, has been one of the best things that I've been able to be a part of throughout our organization.
So I saw you get amped up when I said oldest and boldest. Tell me about that. What was that? Look at you.
That just brings a smile on my face. So I joined this organization, the UCF chapter of the NAACP, my sophomore year. So I started off as the press and publicity chair. My first vice president was Darisha, who was president last year. She told me one thing. She was like, if you don't remember anything else, know that we are the oldest and the boldest organization. So I'm just like even on flyers, like I know that oldest and boldest. We were founded February 12th, 1909, and we've been working continuously from that time to make sure that, the purpose of NAACP, the mission statement, gets like to every nick and cranny of America. So like the oldest and the boldest organization, we're going to be proud. We're proud. We're bold. We stand out. So when I hear oldest and the boldest, it just brings like.
Yeah.
And the forefathers of our organization, Martin Luther King, Thurgood Marshall, Frederick Douglass, like the names just go on and on and on about like who our forefathers were, like who are advocating for rights, and like kind of where we pull our strength from too, and our intelligence from too. So to be a part of a community that has been stemmed from these heroes, in our eyes, I feel like that's what makes us the oldest and the boldest, the organization on campus. So
that's pretty good. So when you all are bringing it, so you already know that there are people coming from different walks of life, whether they're Black, brown, white, no matter where they're coming from, they're coming to be members of NAACP, the student chapter here on campus. How do you embrace them? I think about it from like when I was in high school, there were people who were kind of considered more the outcast people who were kind of shy or introverted, or then there was the jocks, and there were the people who were the cheerleaders, and the people who were most popular, and all those different things. We have all of those types of personalities at the University of Central Florida. So when these people come in, some of them may be timid, some of them may be bold and beyond, and have high egos or low egos and all these different things. So when they come and join the organization, how do you all pull them in and make it one message, one theme?
Go ahead, Vanessa.
because I joined after you, and I went to like NAACP body meetings when we were able to have them physically on campus. When I was just like, you trying to see what it was about, and I just remember going to our GBM and it was packed out. Like, I think it was one of the first ones, but it was packed out. We played a game. Like, we had great discussion. We had a real discussion. There was music. Like, everybody was interacting with everybody. Even like the quiet kids, as you would say, like we had moments where we got to stand up and go talk. And like, even in the midst of that, like club members and like, the chairs and executive board cabinets, they would come around and they would interact with you. Like, hey, my name is so-and-so. How are you? What are you doing here? Like, or how do you feel about doing this? Or like, how do you feel about the meeting that's going on? So I think it was just that kind of inclusivity and that just kind of kindness that was extended throughout all of the cabinet chairs and like members is what drove me to join. And I think that's what we still do to this day, to try and invite and engage with our members. So yeah.
Yeah, so definitely keeping everything open. Like, we're very genuine. We want people to say what, like, you came over here because you felt like you feel like it relates to you in a way. So I like to keep the floor open. I no type of judgment, no nothing, because we want to have conversations, real conversations. It's not like the regular meetings. Okay, let's come in, find out about the organization, join, and then that's it. I'm so big on family aspect. So not only are you joining the organization and you become an NAACP member, but you become family. So we're reaching out. We want to know how you're doing in school. We want to know, we start discussions in the chat like, hey, we have like a group chat. So we start discussions in the chat. Did you guys see this? What do you feel about this? Like, what like, I want to hear everyone's voices. And I feel like people that feel like they have a space or feel like they're a part of something, they will come back. Like, if you don't feel like, if you don't feel that family aspect, like, okay, I'll come in, leave out. Like, I have people that's graduated that's still part of NAACP, and anybody that comes with become an e-board member, I'm like, it doesn't stop after you graduate, right? Like, that, right? Like, don't think that because this is not for a resume booster. This is an organization where you're going to learn, you're going to grow. I'm a health science major. I never thought that I'll become a president of NAACP at UCF. I'm just like, what does it have to do with health? But then I realized it has something to do with everything. It doesn't matter what major you're in or what you're doing.
Yeah, because you get to bring in the disparities even to your profession. So
Definitely.
you said something that really sparked, made me think in terms of family.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cultural aspect of who I think Black people are, and I think who the orchestrators of what the NAACP meant even back when it was branded, right? When it became a part of the psyche of America. Talk about that. Talk about culture. Talk about how that matters on a college campus, especially when people are coming from various locations.
Oh, you want to start, Vanessa?
I was just gonna say, because I know we also do have like a picnic coming up where we're going to engage and like have fun and have games, and that's for like our cabinet and our group and our organization members, where we could come out and get to know each other more and kind of grow together in a better sense, or learn more about each other. But it's just those kind of things. We do retreats to get to know each other more. Like, we check in with each other. So that definitely is a thing, within our culture, where we just, once we're there with each other, I think we just kind of grow into this family unit that, its mission is to work together towards a common goal. So I think that all starts with, like Nadia says, founding that kind of really solid foundation by making everybody, or by becoming a family.
Nice, nice. So I'm going to pivot a little bit and talk a little bit about what has been happening this week with the celebration of Martin Luther King throughout the United States, throughout the world, in most aspects of it. What does Martin Luther King and his memory and his vision mean to you all? And what are you doing in honor of who he stood for, or what he stands for, or the message that was being created with civil rights movement?
When I think of Martin Luther King, I just think of peaceful, like peace. Like, I think of just peace. So right now, even, with everything going on, like, I encourage our people, like, I feel like we should just choose peace. We see everything going on, especially what happened at the Capitol, and like, and we were told we were thugs because we were like we were protesting peacefully. But when you go into government buildings, that's okay. I just feel like Martin Luther King, like I said, like he promoted peace. And in our organization, I would just say that we definitely like to get our voices heard, but we know that it needs to be done peacefully. Like being violent is not the way to go. So I would definitely say that in regards to your question.
I think, yeah, for me, MLK, I think even with his whole rhetoric, the "I have a dream," his staple speech is just. I feel like I am the promise of a dream. Like I said before, I'm Haitian American. Like my parents both came here like on boats. Like my dad spent 27 days at sea to get to this country. Like I am that dream living for what he wanted for his children and for what he wanted for his future. So for me, like Martin Luther King fighting for his dream in his own country, where he was deterred from his own civil liberties and rights and, wrongfully just chastised, marginalized for his entire life up until the day of his murder. So for me, it means to not just fight, but to advocate, to speak up, to be present in rooms, and just to continuously just speaking on behalf of the disenfranchised, just because it takes a unit to turn the dial. It doesn't take one person.
Mhm.
And for him to have a dream, I just think that's a goal of unity. That's a goal of drive of, he had real intention to fix things and to try to promote equality. But I definitely resonate with that just because from a personal place, like I just feel like I'm a dream living. So
Okay. So taking that a step further, the lessons that were learned during when he was living in the civil rights movement and the things that came out of it, that were birthed out of that. So much of that is what NAACP stands for today in terms of making sure that there's equity and there's inclusion. How do we teach new people who maybe not understand MLK and that whole movement? How do we teach them, and how are you teaching them to understand the impact of Martin Luther King Jr.?
Well, I think for one, we have to revisit history and tell it honestly. Like I think people have to understand how viciously and violently Black people were really treated, to the point where we had to like march down Selma, to the point where we had to like do sit-ins and bus boycotts that didn't last one day. That bus boycott was 6 months to a year, and I think it was almost up to 2 years. So we have to talk about the real fight. We have to talk about the real nitty gritty and sometimes the unsightfully details that happen, so people can understand. Like Martin Luther King didn't die here when he died.
Yeah.
He was emboldened, and like, you know what I'm saying? He was glorified after his murder.
Yeah.
Even before then, the same kind of wave of Trumpism that we see now, we had back then during his movement.
Yeah.
So I think it's just very like, we have to be mindful to like rightfully inform people of our history so we can actually establish an incentive to move forward. So people don't understand like, oh, this is not just a self thing. Like, Vanessa's not working. Black people aren't working hard enough to get where they need to be. Like, no, we've been systemically disenfranchised for centuries since we've been here. We weren't brought here voluntarily.
Right.
So I think that it starts with telling history correctly, and
Right.
then we can move on with a real common goal.
Yeah. And there's a sense that, if you don't see things my way, then you're against me. What's your thoughts about the fact that within the NAACP, there must be various voices that are being heard, or various ways that people think that will kind of make the message resonate more with the folks? What's the beauty in that? Or maybe if not, I mean, how do you all think about it? I don't want to, put words in your mouth, but how do you all see bringing different voices to the table for the same goal?
I would say if it's for the goal, or if there's like a bigger picture that we all see, if it's different voices, I want to know. Like I want to see, like, I don't want people to be so stubborn in their ways that like, no, there's only one way to get to a place. I want to hear what's your reasoning. Let's talk about it. Like I said before, I'm very big on talking. I feel like talking and understanding each other is how things will get solved. Things will get, because you never know. Like maybe Vanessa had a point that I didn't think about. And even as the president, when I hear my other e-board members and cabinet members talk, I'm just like, don't think that I know all the answers. I want to hear you out too. I'm a president that I learn every single day from my e-board and cabinet members. And sometimes I don't know the answers, or sometimes I can do things a different way, and they help me. Like, I just because I'm the president doesn't mean I take control of everything. I have my hands in everything. You help me to like help you for the greater good of our organization, for America, for our world. So that's how I feel about that. So I think there's beauty that lies in it. For those who may think that it's not, I think that's a very stubborn and like a selfish mentality. But
Yeah.
that's me.
So, Vanessa, you're the oldest and the boldest.
Yeah.
But there are other Black organizations on campus.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Black Student Union.
Mm-hmm.
How do you all interact?
Well, we actually just did, I think one of our last events, we did a live for the election, and we collaborated with BSU, Black Student Union. We collaborated with UCF Democrats. We collaborated with,
Yes, PBM sisters.
yes, Men of Integrity on campus, which are all like some of the predominantly Black organizations on campus, but we all reach out and try and lean on each other when and where we can, because we're all different entities and different societies. We obviously want to have our own distinguished presences on campus, but at the end of the day, we all, like you said, are working for a common goal. So there are a lot of things that we come together to do, and a lot of messages that we come together to promote. But yeah, we work that way.
Good. So now I'm gonna go sister girl on you all.
Okay.
You all have possibly, and I can't speak for you, witnessed a ceiling being broken in the inauguration of the first ethnic, person of color, Black, South Asian American woman becoming the president or the vice president of the United States. What does that mean to you?
I don't know about you guys, but I cried. Like, I shed real tears. I'm not gonna lie. Like, my parents have always been into politics because they're from a third world country where politics, like their government, was just non-existent. And I remember growing up, I used to tell my mom I want to be a lawyer so bad, but she stuck a picture of Condoleezza Rice. We're not Republicans, but she stuck a picture of Condoleezza Rice above my bed, like literally taped the newspaper cutout of Condoleezza above my bed. She was just like, because she's Black and she's a woman and she's in the White House. She's in one of the most prestigious positions in the world. And she's there. And my mom was like, I want that for you. So for me, it's like seeing that come into fruition as one of, even like, escalate to be one of the most prominent positions in the world. It's like that ceiling was not only broken, but shattered, because it wasn't like a person of non-color. It was a woman of so many colors, so many colors and different backgrounds that you can say. But like, I was proud, even giving her like, like her like argumentative background, or not argumentative, but like her problematic background, or, whatever conflict she may have had in the past. I think representation matters. Seeing that you can get to a certain position, it matters. It lets you know that that door is open for you to step through. It's not closed anymore. It's not like you can't do it to a certain extent. It's there. It's reachable at this point.
Nice. Thank you. Nadia.
That moment was crazy to me. I was just like, wow, like it really happened. And I saw, what's crazy, I saw a picture of her and Barack Obama like together.
Doing a girl.
I was just like, oh my goodness, like this is gonna be in the history books. Like my children and my children's children is gonna see that in the year 2021, we elected a vice president who has like it's just so surreal to me. And I'm very proud. Like of course people have things to say. Well, she's not fully Black, or she's not this, she's not that. But I'm like, we're making a step towards something. I don't know about you, but I'm happy and I'm proud about that. So
you can be happy in the existence of other people's joy, right? So that's a part of what you said NAACP is all about, that we're inclusive, right? And we're embracing all of it. So you're embracing womanism in all its forms, all its intersectionalities, so to speak, with regards to that. So when you think about her journey, and the AKAs, I don't know if you all donned pearls and chucks and all those other things. But when you think about her journey and you think about yours and where you want to go in life, how are you inspired by it, and what are you hoping to now achieve even that much more as you guys get ready to graduate?
Not only is she a AKA, but she went to a historically Black college. She did that. She worked in a predominantly Black neighborhood. She worked her way up that ladder, and then she got to this position. So for me, it's just kind of seeing like, the route that she took was like an unpopular route. Like people like to discredit Black, historically Black colleges all the time, but like coming from that background and seeing her do it, even like against her race, against her agenda, or against her background. I just know for me, somebody who is also like college educated and whatnot, like I'm on similar routes. I'm taking similar footsteps. So I can see myself growing into a bigger position and like moving up the ladder to try like to enforce equity in whatever way I can. But like, yeah, has inspired me just in the sense of being there, just in the sense of like accomplishment, just in the sense of like drive. Like she has got to that point. She didn't stop. She could have stopped through the chastisement. She could have stopped through all that stuff. She could have like reneged on her like decisions to do what she did. She could have did a lot of things, but she pushed forward. She persevered, and now she has accomplished the unthinkable. So
Resilience, right? And perseverance is definitely the key. Excellent. Thank you. I'm going to come back to ask you what you want to do with your degree, but Nadia, how about you?
So a personal story. Me going to medical school, it's been a fight for me. I was like, should I just settle? Like me just thinking like maybe I don't want to do medical school, maybe PA school, it's in 2 years, or it's probably easier to get into that. But seeing like Kamala Harris and like people like my color going, further and not just trying to settle, it really pushes me. Like I said, it's been a struggle, constant struggle. Like, Nadia, do you really want to go to medical school? Why don't you just settle? Do a nurse practitioner or do physician assistant. Like, why should I feel like I need to settle? Like, is it because like, people my color, like I don't see that many of them entering medical school. Like it's been a constant battle, but like, seeing like, Kamala Harris and, people of my color, like actually going further and not stopping. Because Kamala, I know that she has so many roadblocks before becoming vice president. And then I'm just like, you know what? This is something that I really wanted to do, and I don't want to let nothing get in the way of that. I don't want to regret not pursuing something that I intentionally wanted to do. Because when I came into college, that was my goal. I went on a missions trip to Haiti in 2016, and I knew I was just like a medical mission trip, and I was like, this is something I want to do. I want to go into third world countries and into other places and help women and children. So I'm like, I'm going to stick to that and not try and defer or take detours and do other things. This is what I'm going to do. So like it really helped me set in stone like my path in life. So
yeah. So you said something that was really the both of you you kind of talked about this. Seeing someone who looks like you in these prominent places means a lot. Role modeling for people, especially young ladies, how to persevere and make it through. What, and Vanessa, you talked about HBCUs, but we're here at UCF. What does UCF need to do in your eyes, if they're not doing it already, to make that space for you all? That space that you believe HBCU did for Kamala Harris. What space is necessary for you all here at UCF, and what do you need to see? What are the role models that you may or may not see on our campus that you feel that is necessary for them to be here?
I think it can start with promoting our actual events and like Black events on our actual UCF page. So I think that'd be a start, like just being able to get our voices out there, knowing
And that's a small step. That's something that's doable, right now.
Yes. So small steps like that, just being sure that like, you know, your whole campus is aware that you have this organization there. And obviously like we do our part and do what we can to promote ourselves, like get out and let people know. But it's a Central UCF is the biggest school in Florida. So it's like for us, it's like we would like the help and the backing of our administration. And also like I remember during our Juneteenth event this past summer, like we had a lot of the faculty came out, even our own president came out, Mr. Cartwright, Professor Cartwright. He had came out and he was at our table and he specifically asked like, what can we do? What can we do? And I told him, I was like, to be mindful, to be like when, especially behind closed doors when it comes to your faculty as well, because we know that there's different discrimination cases on campus. We know that there's different biases going on, not only in the classrooms, but like, you know what I mean, within like, you know, the faculty as well. So I was like, address those things and be transparent about those things. So people don't think like these things aren't happening here and people continuously have this narrative that racism is non-existent and it's just Black people always want to complain. Like, I think you should check that stuff at the door to begin.
What does transparent mean to you? You said transparency. What does transparent mean to you?
Transparent to me means like you are vocal about what you stand for and what you don't stand for, but not only are you vocal, but you act on that. Not just a little fancy email, like not just coming out to our Juneteenth and then speaking to us for 5 minutes and then being invisible for the rest of the semester. Like, you know what I mean? I think it means like when we're having our events, show up. Like come to our events and see what we're talking about, see our interests, chat with our president and our vice president, our political action chair, to see what things are really going on, and not just on our campus, but in our community that also affect our campus. So, you know, to me, there's just like little things that we can do that people aren't doing just because when it's not popular, when it's not being monetized, they don't feel like it's an urgent issue. But this is a pre-existing, long existing issue.
Right. And I have to say this to you. What you just spoke about is having a voice at the table. And just that, right? It seems so small what you're asking for, right? That and I mean, and it's so easy to be done that but unless we have people like you at the table sharing that narrative, it gets lost. And I wonder sometimes, like, how come it gets lost? How come Vanessa has to be the one to say that, right? How come somebody else who was in leadership, even when I'm not at the table, saying something like that? Because again, and I don't mean small, like, you know, small-minded or whatever. What I'm saying is that is something that's tangible to do that will help the narrative of saying, yes, I'm an inclusive university. I want you here. I support you. And I don't have to throw a lot of money behind it to show you and to show the community that this is what matters. This is how we make Black lives matter, right? And I think that's what I got out of what you just said just now. And unless people hear that,
Right.
I mean, that's a small ask.
I think people are scared of accountability. They're scared of uncomfortability. I think somebody's scared to speak up at the table because they're gonna be like, well, who do you think you are? Like trying to speak up for Black people, or like some people, honestly, I'll give certain people this. They don't know which way to or how to stand as an ally. They don't know if they're being too vocal, or if they're not saying enough. Like, you know, I've like a lot of my friends who are not people of color, who are people of color at all, they're like, well, Vanessa, how can we help? Because you know me, girl. And I'm like, I was like, I know you, but like there's certain things like you just don't know because this is not your experience. But these are the things and these are the roles that you can play in this whole system, or in the system, literally in the system. Speak up. When you see somebody being talked down to or biasly like this, or being discriminated against, you have to be vocal, because it's nothing but like there's not going to be an effect like a white on white person telling each other that you're wrong for doing this.
Yeah.
Because then there's no pushback.
Wow. I mean, I'm just going to sit with that one for a moment. That was just, you know, this profound things that come from our youth, from listening to perspectives of individuals. And so I appreciate you, Vanessa. I really do. That hit me hard right there. And it makes a lot of sense. And things that make sense should be done, right? And you're not asking for the world, you're asking for something that is doable. in regards to that. Nadia, your thoughts?
Vanessa done said it all, but I would definitely say that the Black community at UCF is super small, so small. Even though we have all these different organizations for the Black community, we all are basically a part of each organization. We
Right.
just it's just in rotation. So like definitely having that listening ear to know like what's our concerns, like we want more people to know, about NAACP or how to handle situations when it comes about. But we feel like we don't have that pull. Like, how can we pull these people? How can we pull these people so they can come and, learn more about us and, get to experience us instead of like what they hear? Because a lot of times people that have, their notion on what a Black person is or what they're like, they've never experienced a Black person or been friends with a Black person. It's what they heard.
Right.
So if you were to just come and experience, come to a meeting, just hear us out. I feel like, things would just be so much different. But like Vanessa said, I feel like we don't have that exposure. We're just it's us, but we're still here. But it would definitely, we had that exposure, if definitely we had, alliances with the actual UCF, I feel like we're just all the Black organizations just fighting to stay afloat. But if we had that push, had that help from, I feel like, the president, and things like that, our organization would be able to, be more grounded and be able to help other people. That's just not
To
people.
help spread the word, right? To help with the inclusivity that's happening. What I heard in Vanessa is like the authenticity of your presence is really what's going to help make the change, right? Because when you're coming in with your fullness and you're really there to support and help, you're going to know what to do. Vanessa, you cracked me up when you said your friends come to you and they ask. I get this all the time too. What can I do? How can I support you? What do you want to do?
Right.
I shouldn't have to tell you what to do. I mean, what do you want to do? Go internal.
Right.
What would you do for yourself
Mhm.
if you see something that's an injustice that's out there, right? And so I appreciate you two so much, not just for taking the leadership role, but also being strong spokespersons for the narrative that we are expecting, right? The things that we want. Um, I keep going back to what Vanessa said, and I'm not harping on what Vanessa said, but Vanessa, you asked for something that is so, and I don't want to say it wrong because I'm not saying that it's small, but you're asking for something that is so doable, that is so like,
It's minuscule. It's
Yeah,
small.
I was thinking of that same word. Yes.
Yes, it is so
it seems
so
it almost sounds crazy to say it out loud. That I'm saying that it was just that simple.
right.
And,
Like,
and I don't want it to
We're
sound
not
like
asking for money. We're not asking for like money. We're not asking for you to do too much.
right,
Just
right.
one little thing, like
Yeah, 'cause I'm not asking. I'm not trying to make like this is something that you can discount. It's just that simple, and that is
right.
really all that people really want from you, to show that you either care or that you have something. Go ahead. I don't want to cut you off. Go.
No, I was just gonna say, like, and if one thing, like maybe, hey, now that we're in era of COVID, live stream our GBM, send it out to some of the professors. So the professors, like whatever rhetoric or idea or image they have of Black students that they may have in their heads, because I know it's been very controversial on our campus, specifically with certain professors, and like their depiction of what Black students and Black people are like is just completely obscure and ridiculous. But if they were able to sit, like, if they were able to sit with a body like NAACP and BSU, men of integrity, you know what I mean? If they were able to sit within those body of students and hear how eloquent, intelligent, just strong, powerful, and just determined these students are, I think your conception of Black people, Black students will completely change. But you haven't been introduced because you don't feel like you have the need to, or you don't feel like you want to. But like if you were not even forced, but if you were just to catch a snippet of
Yeah,
who we really are, of who we are as a culture.
yeah. That all you are Amanda Gordons. All of you all are Amanda Gormans.
Yeah, what's that mean?
Well, the woman, there's a lot of people falling all over Amanda Gorman for that.
Oh, Amanda Gordon, the poet. Yes, yes,
You
yes,
know, there's more out there.
yes,
It's just not Amanda that's doing this great work, right?
yes. Exactly. There's plenty of us out there. Actually, like too many, you're not even too many, but there's an abundance of us, like Black intelligence, Black excellence across the nation. And I just feel like once you're introduced to that, there's no denying it. There's no putting the excuses on like, oh, well, if we did this and if we didn't do that, we will be this kind of person. We are on college campuses, sir. Yeah. We are doing the work. Some of us more than others.
Woo! You better speak. You better speak. So anyway, all right. So we got like less than 5 minutes left, and I want this to be about you two right now. What's your dream? What's your journey? Once you graduate, what we're going to see? What is the plateau? What is your ceiling that you're planning on breaking once you graduate and leave UCF?
Go ahead, Vanessa. You can go first.
Okay, so once I graduate, like I aspire to travel to Capitol Hill at some point. I actually just finished my TWC internship this summer semester. So had it not been for COVID, I would have been working on Capitol Hill this past summer. But I still could put it on my resume. But at this point, after I graduate, I just want to be some kind of voice and helpful source when it comes to relieving poverty in our country and in Haiti. That's one of my target countries to help like rebuild their infrastructure and stuff like that because I'm Haitian American. But I definitely want to help relieve poverty, not only like domestically, but internationally, and just to fight and continually be a voice for the marginalized in this country because I fall in that category. And so, that's what I plan on doing in whatever way God sees me fit after I graduate. But that's my purpose.
Well, look at that. And then, it all comes back to God. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's a spiritual part of us. And that's a cultural thing as well when it comes to our service and how we see the world. Because we do this not for just ourselves, but we do this because we're God's children. Thank you so much for that, Vanessa. Nadia.
All right. So I graduated this semester. I'm super, super duper proud. But I would definitely say after the semester, I graduate, I definitely want to, I'm still going to remain part of NAACP. Like one thing about it, I'm still so close to everybody, like people that I had, like when I first got to NAACP, I'm still like connected with those people, and I still want to be connected with the people that comes even after me. So I definitely want to still hold positions in NAACP. Whether it be in the Orange County branch chapter or me going back home to Miami and being part of that chapter. But I also want to start studying for my MCAT and go to medical school. Like I said, it's been a struggle, but I think that's what I want to do. My dad is from Haiti and my mom is from the Bahamas, so I'm from the islands. So So I definitely, like when I went to Haiti, I've been to Haiti many times, and like I said, like going and seeing that there's people that's so less fortunate than us that don't have anything, but they're still happy. Like that, like right there broke my heart, and I knew like they were like happy, like to see, like because I went with my church and they were just like so excited to see us. Like we didn't give them a lot, but they were still so satisfied. And I just wanted to, that's why I want to be like a missionary doctor. Like I want to go out into the third world countries. I want to help those who don't have that access like we do. Like I felt at times we could be so ungrateful. We can be so ungrateful. So that's definitely something I wanted to do.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Again, talking about being selfless and giving back. And that's really who we are and what we want to be able to do. So you all excite me. I'm proud to be your faculty advisor and what you all do. I wish you nothing but the best. I hate that I can't see you all, but maybe before you all graduate, there'll be a time that we can either do a little elbow bump or something with our mask on. We'll do a little bump. But I'm so proud of both of you. Vanessa, this is really our first time having a conversation. I'm inspired by you and your story, just the passion behind your words. Same with you, Nadia. I've already known you. I know that you have that passion, and I can't hope for anything but the best for you too. The world has to be looking out because I see you all climbing those stairs and being the next Kamalas and everything else and the things that you all getting ready to do. So stay strong, and thanks for being a part of today's conversation. This has just been phenomenal. And I can't wait to make sure that it gets into the right ears. Make sure you send it out there, because you did your thing today. Y'all did your thing.
Thank you. That's my political action chair, Vanessa.
Okay, President.
There you go. All right. So listen, next Wednesday we have Association Allyship. So I'm going to be hearing from Courtney Hand, Dr. Cynthia Muniz, and Justin Andrade. They're over La Fasa and Pride, and they're also over the BFSA. And so I'm really excited to have them on next Wednesday to kind of talk about what faculty and staff are doing in regards to making sure that the university campus community is doing the right thing. These students just showed you what is the right thing, what they're asking for. They're not asking for a lot, because they're willing to do what they need to do to get through. They are actually able to do it. That's what perseverance is. That's what resilience is. That is what determination is. They just showed you that they're not asking for handouts. They're asking for you to see them. And so I'm so excited about that. And so thank you, ladies, for being here. You got nothing but love and respect for me. And we'll see each other again soon. All right. Thank you all. Thank you to the UCF Foundation for helping support this podcast. And we'll see you next week. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.